When it comes to being objectified in the media, gender is no longer an issue. Comfortable sandals may cause health issues, such as back pain and foot problems. Walk up to any newsstand and you'll see men on the cover of magazines almost as much as you see women. Until now, single-sex teaching has only been offered in limited cases. The specimens are preserved through a process called polymer impregnation. Theme park tickets, box office receipts, and pumpkins sold from a patch like this one are not figured in. What happens when we die? We are buried, cremated, and sometimes donated to help others. The bodies at the Orlando Science Center may not have received a funeral, but visitors come to see them every day. Our body, the universe within, may disturb some people, but the Science Center thinks many will find it fascinating.
So, there have been some negative comments, not a formal protest, not a great deal of negative comments. Most of the feedback has been very positive, but there have been some people that feel it's inappropriate to display a human body in this way.
This skeleton is only one of more than 200 specimens from actual human bodies on display in the exhibit. The specimens are preserved through a process called polymer impregnation, where body fluids are replaced with a plastic that hardens to prevent decay. As you can see, this is an exhibit that really gets under your skin. They stand before us without their skin, muscles and organs exposed, more naked than any of us will ever be. Nobody knows who they are. All of the corpses were unclaimed and unidentified at the time of death. On loan to the exhibit from Beijing, China, these bodies have been dissected to show us the inner workings of our anatomy. This is only one of many traveling exhibits around the country, drawing in crowds and controversy.
Things grossed me out and I wasn't sure how I was going to be able to handle it. It wasn't that way at all.
One figure holding up the skin on a coat hanger, yes, maybe that was a little bit disturbing.
I can't imagine my family coming to see an exhibit like this and say, oh, that used to be Carmen and look at her aorta.
Though nobody knew them when they died, millions will know them in death. With all the success of the different body exhibits out there, controversy seems to be nothing more than a buzzword. In Orlando, Michael Vu, UCF Nightly News. It used to be a single night of dressing up for candy. Now, it is an industry, with multiple sources of revenue coming in all month long. The National Retail Federation estimates that Americans will spend almost $5 billion celebrating Halloween this year. Now, the estimate includes the sale of merchandise purchased online or in brick-and-mortar retail stores like Halloween Express, but all the theme park tickets, box office receipts, and pumpkins sold from a patch like this one are not figured in. Evelyn Fisher owns 2 Halloween Express locations in Orlando. From the number of costumes sold, Evelyn believes Hollywood goes hand in hand with trick-or-treat.
Horror is one of those emotions that we deal with, and we've always dealt with, and I think what Hollywood has done is capitalize on that. I am not a horror fan. I have bad dreams, and so I don't get to see them.
The Grudge 2 opened at the top of the box office only 1 week after the Texas Chainsaw Massacre spent its opening weekend at number 2. But specialty shops and movie theaters aren't the only veteran moneymakers this Halloween. UCF student Jared Clemens has been coming to Halloween Horror Nights since 1992. Clemens liked it so much he has worked the event the last 4 years.
I don't care if I have to go to class at 7 in the morning. I wish I could stay here till 7 in the morning scaring guests.
Come see all the things we have here for you. Your ticket is just your soul.
Not exactly, but at $60 per guest and almost sold-out nights for each event, this theme park sure knows how to make a killing. In Orlando, Michael Vu, UCF Nightly News. When it comes to being objectified in the media, gender is no longer an issue. The male form has seen a modern-day renaissance, appearing in major ad campaigns, feature films, and on television. With all this exposure, some men are taking a closer look at the reflection in the mirror. The large words projected on the big screen show us sometimes size matters. At least that's the issue that Michael Feldman presents in the multimedia one-man show, Musclebound. Feldman's very personal performance brings to light what he says is a growing trend of men obsessed with looking good. Dr. Tom Fisher is an athletic performance specialist, and he doesn't think looking good is really the problem.
Where does working out become a problem? Where does eating become a problem? Where does drugs become a problem, or alcohol, you know, when it begins to impair your performance and when it begins to impede or impact your life.
Feldman's own experiences inspired Musclebound, and he wants others to know the problems that can come with body image.
And I was like, oh my God, like I look like a stick. I need to keep working out. I need to look like all these images in these magazines.
Walk up to any newsstand and you'll see men on the cover of magazines almost as much as you see women. But before going to publication, images can be digitally enhanced, so men might feel pressure to look like something that isn't real. Do huge chests, muscular arms, chiseled abs, and lean torsos represent the bodies modern males wish to possess?
It makes me want to get bigger. It's a big thing, I want to get bigger, but I don't want to look like that.
Basically, my friends motivate me to work out more, but not so much the media.
Dr. Fisher thinks these images of perfect males should not discourage real men.
I know that the perception is that there's these ideals out there, but really they don't exist.
The performance points out that poor self-image can lead to developing unhealthy behaviors, such as eating disorders, exercise addiction, or taking drugs and steroids. UCF officials say the counseling center is always available and prepared to help students with these issues. Live from the studio, Michael Vu, Nightly News. It's American Education Week, and the government recently introduced new rules that will ease restrictions on segregation in public schools. This could give parents and students the option of having more than just co-ed classrooms. At one local school, we found out how boys and girls can learn a little differently. Segregation in schools is historically remembered as a racial issue, but on November 24th, the government will allow public schools to offer classes split by gender for the first time in 34 years. Until now, single-sex teaching has only been offered in limited cases, such as gym class or sex education. But here, at Woodward Avenue Elementary, boys and girls have the option to learn every subject separately. Joanne Rodke is the principal at Woodward. She believes gender-segregated learning can finally be separate and equal.
Girls who went to an all-girls school were being prepared differently than the boys who went to an all-boys school. I mean, the subject matter was different, the emphasis was different on where it was going to take them in the future. We've grown past that now.
Each grade, kindergarten through 5th, has the option of single-gender classes. Rodke says the children are more involved and attentive than those in co-ed classrooms. But how do the students feel about being separated?
Because, like, if you mess up, you won't feel embarrassed. The boys won't say ew and all that stuff. So they need their bubble.
They need their space, they say.
In addition to behavioral improvement, there is a growing body of research that shows boys and girls may learn differently. Principal Rodke says the quality and success of her program depends on equality in the classroom.
We're offering the same level of expectations. We're just saying, let's look at how we adequately prepare them to get there.
The bigger question is, will it improve American education? Child psychologist Deborah Day says there is no scientific evidence that proves single-sex learning is more effective than gender mixed. There are about 240 public schools in the nation offering same-sex education, but that number is expected to increase.